Has the Power Rangers reboot been cancelled? Yes and no. We're going to give you the answers in this video so you can understand the whole mess. The reality is that the reboot of the franchise has several years in the making, and I honestly think it has taken too long. First, let's answer the question, and that is that the Power Rangers reboot has not been cancelled, it just won't be with Netflix anymore. This is not official news, as it comes from a website that is dedicated to talk about everything that happens on TV, and Hasbro has not yet said anything about this. On the other hand, Netflix has not mentioned anything about this cancellation either, and this tells us that this news can only be fake, but it can also be real. This is why we should take it with the same seriousness, even though we still don't have a confirmation, and we are going to analyze everything that represents that now the reboot will not be made on Netflix. The first thing we should mention is that, if this is a simple false rumor, then everything would remain the same and we could go on with our lives. The other option is that, if this is real news, then it could be worrisome, but it could also be a good thing. Specifically, these two options are the ones I want to discuss with you all, as the franchise may be at risk, or maybe it could be the perfect time for a fresh start. Let's start with the negative part, as it is the most worrisome, and that is that all of us fans who love Power Rangers are waiting for a new birth of the franchise. I call it a new birth since absolutely everything must change, and it is going to be like seeing the birth of new superheroes. We have to accept that right now the Netflix platform is the biggest in this part of the world, and it is the perfect place for the new Power Rangers universe to be. We all know that the reach that Netflix hasn't been surpassed by any other platform, so this would give a great advantage to Power Rangers for more people to connect with the franchise. Let's remember that the reboot is supposed to be targeted for a more adult audience, so the franchise needs to connect with a new audience so everything can continue to grow. Perhaps many are going to think that the franchise doesn't need more fans, since there are many old fans who are now adults and can continue to support the franchise. The reality is that Power Rangers needs more fans in order to sustain this reboot, as they are now supposed to create something more serious, and to achieve that they need a bigger budget. This means that the franchise needs to have more fans so that the whole new universe can be sustained, and Netflix is the perfect place to connect with all those new fans. You have to understand that due to the change of direction that the reboot is going to have, the franchise is going to lose a lot of fans, so it's going to need to fill that void. On top of that, the competition for Power Rangers will no longer be other kids' shows, but it's going to be giant franchises like Marvel and DC. We've already talked many times about the possibility of Power Rangers being a great rival against these big franchises, but the reality is that even though the franchise has all the potential to be a great rival, all of this is useless if it doesn't connect with more fans. The best way to explain this is to imagine that we have a golden egg that is worth a lot, but if we have it in a place where no one can appreciate it, then it is worth nothing. We don't know what the business that Hasbro and Netflix have or was, but we all know that Netflix always invests a lot in their projects. Besides this, with the simple fact that this platform is the most watched in the world, it is already a big step for any franchise to have visibility. Another important thing is that we could already see that Power Rangers works very well on Netflix, and this we could prove with the special episode, which was very visited by many people around the world. So, in short, the negative part that this news has, if it were real, is that the reboot of Power Rangers would have less opportunity to grow, since the other platforms that exist do not have the reach that Netflix has. Another detail is that, if Netflix was going to be part of the investors in the project, then Power Rangers was going to have the opportunity to premiere with a big budget, and this was the perfect time to show that this franchise has a lot of potential. However, if Power Rangers is released on another platform, then it's all going to depend on the platform they want to release on, as each one is very different. The other two platforms that are pretty big and have a great chance of acquiring the Power Rangers reboot are Disney Plus and Max. Disney has already owned Power Rangers, and although they created good series, I don't think they understand that the franchise should now be for adults. We all know that Disney is more dedicated to creating content for a children's audience, which is even why they owned Power Rangers before, but we all know that the franchise should take another path. This is why the other possibility is Max, which has a lot of dark, action and fantasy content. On this platform we can find content such as Game of Thrones, Mortal Kombat, House of the Dragons, Harry Potter, and many other dark fantasy series. It is also the platform that has everything related to the DC universe, and although this franchise has not done well, we think they still have a great style that would suit Power Rangers. Even though Disney has franchises like Marvel and Star Wars, we all know they are not very good at creating dark stories. Now let's talk about the positive things that this big change could have if this news was real and not a rumor invented to create controversy before the premiere of the reboot. We have to remember that Jonathan, the new Power Rangers producer, has finished filming the Karate Kid movie, and this means that he is supposed to be available to work with Power Rangers. This is why this whole rumor could just be a lie to wake up all the fans before Jonathan releases something new about the franchise. This is just a theory of mine, as the rumors on the internet are that Hasbro is handing over all the rights to other companies to take over the production of games, action figures, and other things, but they are keeping the franchise to continue to generate revenue. Well, the silver lining to Power Rangers not premiering on Netflix is that maybe the producers of the franchise are being very cautious with the final product, and maybe they didn't like Netflix's approach. As I said earlier, we don't know the business Hasbro has with Netflix, and we don't know how far Netflix can get their hands on the new product. If Netflix had permission to be able to impose their ideas, then this may have caused a contrast between the vision of the new producers and Netflix's vision. Remember that each platform has its own style, and we already mentioned that Disney tends to be softer, for the whole family, but Max tends to be darker. In the same way, Netflix has its own style, and I think we can define it as a more dramatic and varied style. For now, we can only wait to know if this news is real and to know what may happen with the future of Power Rangers. The sad thing about this news is that this change may delay the reboot, and we have already waited long enough, so many will have high expectations. If these expectations are not met, then it could be the real end of Power Rangers. Write in the comments your opinion about this news. Like this video and subscribe for more Power Rangers news.